Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, this is an introduction to the certificate in financial services risk management. We have had this course for a long while, but now for market demands, basically, and because a lot has changed lately, there has been a revision of the course. So we're just going to talk through the differences between the previous course and just the enrollment process, the content overview, and just basically a general detailed introduction of the course. With me today, we have Sally Starr, which is, she is going to be the Module 1 coach for this course, but she also has been with us for a while. She is the module coach for the Enterprise Risk Management course as well, both modules 1 and 2. And she was one of our best students at some point. So we are very happy to have her. Then joining as well, we have Phil Whittingham. He is one of the course writers. So obviously he is a risk expert and he has a lot of information to give and share his knowledge. And he's also the module coach for module 2 of this course. With him, we have Dimitri Gittens. He's also a course developer, so the same. All these three guests and co-hosts are risk experts, and I'm very happy to have them with me in this webinar. Thank you for your time, everyone. And then I am the membership and student services supervisor in the Institute of Risk Management. So basically, in my department, we deal with anything related to the administration of the course, but also the administration of the memberships themselves. Any students that join us are members directly. So anything to do with the administration of their package and any courses will be us. So this is basically what we are going to excuse me, go through today. First, we will be having a little introduction about why it is important today to get qualified in risk and why to choose the Institute of Risk Management. Then there will be a little discussion with our panel members about what this course can offer and how it's different from the previous one. After that, we will have the content overview of the course, and we will speak as well about the assessment format. And after that, we will go with the enrollment process, how does it work, practical information, and then we will finish with a little bit of information on what you can get being a member with the Institute. And as I said, the moment you join as a student, you will be a member. So let's see if technology is with me today. I'm just going to play a little quick video as an introduction. It's just a couple of minutes. I hope everyone can hear it.
Daniel, I'm not too sure if it's just on my side, but I don't think technology is on your side today.
Let me stop it. Apologies for that. So Sally, what is it? Is it not loading or is it the sound?
The sound is quite slow as well.
Oh, let me see. I'm thinking, Just 1 second. I'm going to. I'm just going to try to come out of Teams 1 second, just in case. And again, and if it doesn't work, I mean, it is 2 minutes and it's not saying much more going to about this. Yeah. Is it better?
No, still no luck, Daniel. I
No?
think it might be better to maybe send a link out afterwards.
Mm, yeah, that is a shame. I'm so sorry, everyone. So obviously, it might be a little bit too much with the sharing screen and the recording and the video. So what I will do is I will send this link to the participants later so everyone can watch the video. It's also on our YouTube channel, actually, but I will make sure I share it. It's just a little introduction on risk management and why it's important today. So right after that, thanks, Sally and Phil, for letting me know, by the way. So right after that, we're going to start talking a little bit about the nitty-gritty. So I just wanted to ask you guys a few questions. The first question, obviously, is what is different in this syllabus in regards to the previous one? So, I mean, I'm happy for any of you to answer, or if you want to, add anything on anything said.
I'm happy to go.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Phil.
So sorry, this is Phil speaking. So I mean, as you've heard, I'm a previous student of the IRM, and I guess selfishly, I mean, for many years I say we need something that focuses on financial services, because if you haven't guessed, I'm a chief risk officer in a financial services company. So I guess, what's different in the syllabus. I mean, if I think back to why we thought this was needed, I mean, the IRM's always done fantastic enterprise risk management training, and provided students with a very broad skills set across enterprise risk management. And actually, when we were first setting up risk functions in the city, in insurers and banks and so on, we were keen to get people with enterprise risk skills in. But I think what we've realized, I mean, the regulators in financial services very much define some of the approaches we have to use within the business, be it for risk quantification, the sort of risks we should think about. And there's a lot of regulatory requirements around that. And so we felt it'd be wrong to not bring together the sort of specific requirements for the sector with the general risk management skills that you would expect any good risk manager to be applying within their business. And I think, we've had initial attempts to do that, and I think they were good. I guess I'm a little biased because you saw us a course developer. But I think as the IRM's qualifications have evolved, we wanted to make sure that the financial services focused and relevant qualifications evolved in the same way. And so there's a lot more deeper dive on topics which are relevant to FS practitioners and non-FS practitioners, such as things like operational resilience, for example. So it's really trying to blend that broad ERM knowledge and skills with the sort of FS specifics.
Amazing.
Any of my colleagues want to chip in, but
yes, I was about to ask. Thank you very much, Phil. Sally or Dimitri, do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, so thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Phil. In terms of what's different, I think if the students and potential students were to take a look at the syllabus from the previous iteration, I think it was around 2019 to this one, like Phil said, there's a very clear distinction between the deep dive or the effort that was put into making it more practical to what you deal with in the financial services context today. So Phil obviously would have made reference to his background as a CRO. I have a background in financial services regulation. So by design, we've taken the approach of tailoring it not just to this high level 30,000 feet idea of financial services risk, but a very practical treatment. So some of the modules, yes, there are definitions you'll find. There's a very traditional approach to teaching and learning, but built into those are activities, scenarios that are very practical, and that come from experience. So that's it for me for now.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And Sally, I see you unmuting yourself.
Yeah, I'd just add as well that the new syllabus is very current. So it really reflects the world that we all find ourselves in now. The most notable changes, I would say, are the inclusion of the sustainability. Well, in terms of module 1, sorry, the most notable changes are the inclusion of sustainability and resilience units. I'm aware that most students who are going to be taking this course are doing it to develop in their careers, and that will require applying some of the theory that you're going to learn to a practical setting, and the certificate syllabus really supports you with this. There's lots of updated case studies in all areas of the course that really provide up-to-date examples that students can relate to, you're probably familiar with already, and that you can really engage with regardless of where you're based in the world, what your experience is as a risk professional, and also what your background is.
Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's only been a few years really since the other course was launched, but 4 or 5 years make a massive difference. So it definitely is really important to have a current and updated syllabus. Going on, the next question is, what do you guys think the benefits are to students that are thinking of enrolling in this course, and also to employers that either want to put candidates from their companies or delegates from their companies through doing the course, or also employers that want to hire someone that might have studied this course. I guess obviously it's related to, having studied a current qualification, but if I can have your insights on that.
Yeah, I don't mind starting if you want.
Of course, thank you.
So for me, I know Daniel mentioned before that I'm a past student of the ERM course, and for me it really does provide a perfect foundation for you to build your career on as a risk professional. So I studied for the certificate in enterprise risk management back in 2019, and I think I would genuinely struggle to do the job that I'm doing today without having done the course. The syllabus is very comprehensive and very varied, so like I said before, regardless of what your background is, what your experience level is, there's definitely something for everyone to learn. But for me, another key benefit was the confidence that it gave me. Before I studied for this course, I didn't have any risk management experience. My background was in languages, but I had an interest in it and I wanted to pursue it as a career, and completing the certificate gave me that reassurance that not only was I qualified to do it, but that I now had the knowledge and tools that I needed to go ahead and do it. So yeah, that's kind of my viewpoint on that one.
Thank you, Sally. Phil, if you want to continue.
Yep. So obviously I recruit people from my team, and I guess to a certain extent any qualification shows a commitment to learning, which is very much something I'm looking for in people in my team. I mean, I think in our roles as a risk, I mean, the risk landscape's constantly evolving. Therefore, we have to learn about new risks on a regular basis. And so showing that you're inquisitive and keen to progress is a, kind of basic requirement almost. But actually what I'm also looking for is people who can join the dots. And I think one of the beauties of this syllabus, if you going for an interview with this particular qualification, is it's giving you the knowledge across all the different risk types. I mean, so often I'll see somebody and I'll think, well, they look fantastic on operational risk, but I need somebody who can talk to underwriters about not just operational risk, but also the kind of underwriting risk. And they've got no kind of background in that, or they might need to talk to investments team around sort of investment risk. this doesn't teach you necessarily to be a sort of investment risk modeler, but it gives you the language to be confident to have that conversation with those teams. So it will make you more valuable, you know, hit the ground running quicker, in my view, in the business. And certainly, you know, I've recruited people with previous iterations of the qualification. That's something I'll be looking for again when I'm, you know, next in the market.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Phil. Dimitri, do you have anything to add in regards to this?
No, well, actually, I concur with Phil completely. It largely was the point I was going to make. The entry point for most students into the world of risk, or most employees, tends to be a very single entry point. So you may enter any domain of technology risk, or maybe you spent some time in the finance function and you've entered from that point of view where you have some skills there. I think it is very clear that based on the breadth of knowledge you'll pick up, or the domains you'll cross, that the certificate positions you to maybe dig into an area you haven't done before, or as Phil said, to learn a language from another topic that you may not necessarily have focused on. So I definitely think for persons who are already in the space and who may have a specialty, or who may want to broaden it, there's a definite plus there. And then conversely, from an employer's point of view, if you were looking to upskill staff members, or to make them more diverse, the certificate here provides an opportunity to take a very multidimensional point of view to learning.
Thank you, Dimitri, and everyone. And then the last question that will be valuable for potential students to know is what makes this course different from others in the market? Obviously, you are all risk experts, so I'm sure you are familiar with other courses or what is out there. So how would you say that this one that we are doing is different from others?
Okay, so I guess I'll get started here. So just in terms of background, I've spent some time largely in technology risk. More recently, I've shifted towards risk in a broader sense. So similar to the course, I've been more diverse in recent years. And based on that path, from then to now, I've done a few other courses, a few with ISACA. I've done some stuff with the Institute of Internal Auditors, and a few other certification bodies in my space. But like I said in a previous response, a lot of that training was very specific, very specialist in nature. And as my responsibilities changed, I noticed I needed something with that prepared me for a more diverse experience. So while my path to the IRM was a bit different in that it was through a master's degree, and I noticed the question in the comments is about the exempted qualifications, which is akin to the route I took. You know, having done different things from different institutions, even comparing it to my master's degree experience, I think I can say one of the noticeable differences or strengths is, of course, you find a lot of different topics in a single place. And while you may not necessarily leave, like Phil said, an underwriting specialist, or while you may not necessarily be someone who will necessarily be a sustainability or resilience specialist, you definitely will be able to position yourself to speak to risk more broadly in financial services. One of the things too is, for me, the structure. So the module 2 starts with a treatment of financial services regulation, and there's a very natural progression to it. So the foundational idea of why is risk and regulation necessary in financial services, and then it flows on to the traditional ideas around financial services risk. So the way it's treated and the way it's designed is very intentional for the financial services space.
Thank you very much, Dimitri.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I think it is the breadth of the course. I mean, there are ERM courses which don't go into the detail around financial services specifics around, for example, credit risk, market risk, underwriting risk. There are financial services specific courses which might focus very deeply on, you know, in much more depth, for example, quantification of credit risk within within a bank, but then those of course don't bring that broader sort of ERM mindset and scope of those other risks. So I think this is, I think it is genuinely unique in terms of the breadth of what it's covering, in terms of like trying to equip students, stroke work colleagues with the toolkit to speak across all those different risks and different risk methodologies.
Thanks, Phil. Sally, please.
Yeah, I think the only thing I have to add to that is, from another perspective, the level of support that's available to you as a student. That's not only in terms of support networks that you'll have around you, but also with regard to the learning resources themselves. So this is a distance learning course, so there is a lot of reading involved, and there is no getting around that. But we recognise that everyone learns in different ways, and the certificate really caters to that, catering to a range of different learning styles and preferences. So to supplement the reading, you'll have access to a number of videos, live webinars, and also facilitated discussion forums for each module. And here you can interact with other students and take part in relevant discussions, maybe even set up study groups should you wish to. So there's lots of support around you as a student on this course.
There's a question around the split of the course. Should I pick that up now?
What was that, sorry, Phil?
I noticed in the question thread there's a question on the split of the course between banking, insurance, and so on. Shall I pick that up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, totally, it's related to what
Yeah,
you
no,
were
I
saying.
think I think it's relevant to this part of the presentation. So, very fair question. Okay, so what's the split of course across banking, insurance, and so on? Because we're saying so. I mean, I guess the first question is, why are we doing banking and insurance and so on in the same course? Well, I mean, they face many of the same risks, investment risk, credit risk, and so on. And actually, if you look at the regulatory environment, it's very similar for both sectors. And actually, there's a lot of, it's almost kind of a zigzagging between the two. If something happens in the banking sector, they introduce a regulation, and then lo, it comes to pass that a year later it introduces in the insurance side, and vice versa. So there's a lot of synergy between the two sectors, and of course there are such things as bank assurers. What we've done within the materials is to make a very clear definition on how a bank is exposed to a particular type of risks compared to how an insurance company is exposed to a particular type of risks. And then we've talked about the differences in approaches used, for example, around quantification. So I mean, you can read through the course very clearly and see these are the bits relating to banking and these are the bits related to insurance, and that's not deliberate. I mean, we're not trying to turn bankers into insurers, we're not necessarily trying to turn insurers into bankers, but we think there's as a sort of, from an intellectual standpoint, there's a lot of interest in understanding the similarities and the differences between the two. But when we come to examination and so on, we wouldn't put students in a position where they're sort of trying to answer on an industry that they just have no knowledge about.
Definitely, thank you, Phil. I mean, there's definitely a correlation, obviously, between banking and insurance. It's been like that forever, so it makes sense to have the course kind of covering both sectors. So I will thank you very much for that. Those insights, guys. That helps a lot, I imagine, to anyone that is thinking about joining the course. It's very valuable information. So I'm going to move on now to the next slide, which, if I can, there we go, which is going to be about the content. Let me just, are you guys still there? Can you see the screen properly?
Yes, we can, Daniel.
Okay, thank you. I have lost for a second the controls, but no problem. So I'm going to continue with it. So obviously module 1 is the one that Sally is covering. We're going to talk about here about the module content and also the assessment format. So Sally, please, if you can talk us through it.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, so as Daniel mentioned earlier, I'm the module coach for Module 1. As module coach, I'm here to help with any queries that you might have in relation to the course contents. I also facilitate discussions between students on the forum by posting kind of relevant news articles and conversations. So my role is really to help guide you through your studies for Module 1, which is centered around the principles of risk and risk management. So this module provides a real introduction to some of the fundamental concepts relating to risk and risk management, exploring what risk management is and how it's developed into the profession that it is today, before going on to look in some depth at the risk management process and also some of the most widely used risk management standards and frameworks that we find used around the world today. And it does this through 6 units, each focusing on a different principle of risk management. And I'll briefly run you through them now, but I believe a full syllabus is available to view online. So Unit 1 provides a general introduction to some key risk management concepts, including things like definitions of risk and risk management, the history and origins of the risk management profession, and also its importance for organizations. Unit 2 is centered around the topic of strategic planning for ERM, where we start to explore risk management principles and frameworks, along with more of an introduction to the risk management process. Unit 3 then goes on to look at context, objectives, and risk assessment, considering internal versus external context, why objectives are so critical to the process, and then how this all ties in with the risk assessment process. As we move into Unit 4, this one's all about managing, monitoring, and reporting risk, exploring what happens once we've identified our risks in order to ensure that they're then managed and communicated effectively going forward. In Unit 5, we go on to look at risk culture and appetite, and here we examine the influence that people have on the risk management process. And then finally, Unit 6 introduces the topic of corporate governance and risk assurance with an exploration of corporate governance requirements across various countries and sectors. So as you can see, the module for Module 1, has a very varied syllabus that's relevant to risk management professionals from all backgrounds. So like I said before, no matter how long you've been in this field, there'll be something new for everyone to learn, and while also possibly going into more depth on topics that you're already more familiar with. Now, in terms of the assessment format, Module 1 is assessed by way of 1 exam and 1 written assignment. The exam is 90 minutes long. It consists of 60 multiple choice questions and takes place electronically at a Pearson VUE exam centre. And the exam makes up 40% of the marks for Module 1. The second form of assessment is a 2,000-word essay, which involves a critical evaluation of a set topic that's related to either your place of work or an organisation of your choice. This written assignment will ask you to demonstrate application of the theory and your knowledge of the course contents to a practical problem. And the assignment makes up 60% of the marks for Module 1. And just note here as well that you have to gain a minimum pass mark for both the exam and the assignment in order to pass Module 1. And I'll now, I believe, hand you over to Phil, who's going to talk you through the contents and structure of Module 2.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you very much, Sally. Phil, before you start, sorry, allow me just 1 second, because for some reason I can't see the controls now of Zoom while I'm on the presentation. Let me see. I'm not sure why it was set. I don't think I can link them again, but that is all right. We will continue. The only thing is that I can't see you while I'm looking at the presentation, but that's fine. Phil, please, if you want to go ahead and run us through Module 2. Okay.
So as Sally's wonderfully explained for Module 1, I mean, you can insert Module 2 in much of what she said and apply the same principles. So Module 2 is really where we get financial services specific. So we do that in 2 ways. So you've talked about general risk management theories and practices in Module 1. We talk about different frameworks. What we then do in module 2 is start off by introducing the regulatory expectations around those frameworks. So be it the European Union or the Bermuda Monetary Authority, or other regulators around the world. I mean, we look at who are the major regulators for the financial services marketplace, and then we look at what are those regulations trying to do. And, you know, I don't want to kind of go through the course before you've enrolled on it, as it were, but you'll see there's a lot of commonality. There's very much this concept of 3 pillars where you quantify risk in pillar 1, you sort of, you know, you have your risk governance within pillar 2, and then you do reporting in pillar 3. And there's a lot of commonality between the banking sector and the insurance sector and between the different regulators. So we use that to frame the discussion that then takes place in the next units. So the next units then go into the risks. We talk within the financial risk unit, we talk about market risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, and insurance risk. What we do is we introduce what we mean by each of those risks. We talk about how they arise within either banks or insurers. We then look at the risk management approaches that different regulators might expect you to have in place to help manage those risks. And then we talk about how you might quantify those risks. And when we're talking, for example, about market risk, that leads on to a discussion around topics such as Monte Carlo simulations and value at risk. Now, an important point here, and this is where I think we're different to some of the competitive offerings, we're not trying to teach you to, you know, do the complicated math, but what we do want you to do is be able to have a conversation with the person that does. We want you to understand, you know, what it's trying to do, why it's used, and what some of the shortcomings are. So quite an important topic if you're operating in the FS space. We then talk about operational risk. That's spread over 2 units in the context of a financial services environment, and, you know, how the regulators expect us to manage it, how the regulators expect us to quantify it. But then within Unit 10, there are a number of specific operational risks that have had a lot of focus within financial services environments, such as vendor risk, and we feel, and cyber and so on, and we feel that they're worth a deep dive within a separate unit. So again, we're sort of giving you more detail around how they would apply in the financial services environment. And we also use that unit to talk about some of the other risks that you might look at in your Pillar 2 risk assessments as well. So there'll be a discussion around strategic risk, for example, within that. The last 2 units, as I think it was Sally alluded earlier, I mean, resilience and sustainability are topics not just within FS, but more broadly. They're of interest to risk management more globally. So again, we take a similar approach there, where we look at those risks, and we think, you know, increasingly the FS risk manager needs to be able to talk to those topics, so they're included within the course materials. All the way through the modules, there are points where you're asked to sort of think about how the topics that you're reading about apply to your own particular business. So we're not just firing a load of information at you, we're asking you to go through the materials to think about what they really mean in practice and how that practice might apply within your own particular organization. And I think that's important then, because when we look at the assessment criteria, we'll be asking people to undertake a critical evaluation. And you can see on this particular module, rather than the split format for the assessment that we had on module 1, this time it is 2 essay assignments that we're looking to set for the examination purposes. I think that's probably all we need to say.
Thank you very much, Phil. Yeah, in terms of the assessment for module 2, instead of being 1 exam and 1 assignment, it will be 2 assignments, and the format will be exactly the same as the assignment, the written assignment in module 1. So it's about 2,000 words, and then you can submit your assignment by Moodle, which is the online platform that we use, where you will be able to find the whole course. Something related to what Phil was saying about using throughout the course, using you know, asking students to reflect on their organization. this is very practical. Obviously, we believe that it's always going to be easier and more realistic, obviously, for students to think about the organization that they work in already, and how they can apply what they are learning to their current job. But also we have to say that in a lot of cases we have students that are not working yet in the industry, and that is completely fine, because you can either use your own organization as an example, or you can also use any other organization, or doing some research, or you can use just imaginary examples, and that is completely fine as well. So let's see a little bit what course resources you will get. Some of them Sally had mentioned earlier. Let me go there. That's everything. So you will find a lot of learning activities in the online platform. So once you complete your enrollment, then we give you access to the online platform, and there it's just a matter of following the course unit by unit, and every now and then you will be prompted to certain chapters of the textbook, for example, and then you will have some activities to consolidate your knowledge. Something that is a really good tool that you will find also in the discussion forum, in the online platform, sorry, is the discussion forum. The discussion forum can be used to pose questions, any doubts that you have about the course topics, and sometimes students prefer to use it just to ask other students if they know anything about it, or student studying techniques, or as Sally was mentioning in the beginning, some students like using it to get in touch with other students and creating a study group, for example. And another way you can use the discussion forum is you can post questions directed at the module coach, if you think that the answer is going to be valuable for other students as well. So the discussion forum is quite a good way actually to stay up to date, and be able to know the opinion of other students and the coach. As Sally mentioned earlier before, there are some webinars and videos that you will be able to find. Some of them happen live, some webinars, and some videos are pre-recorded. The webinars that happen live, if students cannot attend on the day when they're happening, they will also be uploaded to the platform once they have been done, so any student can access this at any time. You will have a lot of text from the essential readings. So obviously we have the core textbooks, and then also we have some additional readings that you will be, most of them are just to complement your knowledge and to widen your knowledge. So in the course, you should only be assessed in the core textbooks that we will provide you a list of once you enroll. For this course, there are only 2 books. Then obviously, other resources that we have are access to your module coach. You will also find some sample exam papers that follow the exact format as the exam that you will take in person at the end of module 1. And then you also get student membership from the very beginning. So once you have completed your course, you will have same benefits as any other member of the institute. And then obviously you will get outstanding student support team, which this is what we do in my department. As I was saying before, for anything related to the administration of the course, any doubts you have, how to apply for feedback and review, how to apply for a receipt, how to get access to certain forms, like issues that you're having with the platform. All of that, we are always here to help, either on the phone or by mail. And then The enrollment process, I will just give you a quick summary of it. The current enrollment window is open until the end of December. Any students that enroll from now to the end of December will be doing it for the June exam session. Well, I would say assessment session, because obviously it's exams and assignments. Once you have completed your enrollment, you just need to do some distance learning, distance studying. The course is self-directed distance learning, which means that you have to organize your own study. But as you have seen, we do have a lot of resources to support you on your journey. It can take 6 to 9 months to complete the course, depending on when you enroll within the enrollment window. So obviously, if you were to enroll today at the beginning of October until the June exams, you would have like 9 months, something like that. If you enroll at the end of the enrollment window in December, you would have 6 months. So it really depends, because you get access directly in the moment that you join the course. You get access to the course itself. Then it really depends on you. You can start studying straight away from the moment you enroll. The Module 1 examination will be in the week of the 10th of June to the 14th. And we say in the week because when you want to book your exam, you will be able to choose a day within this week. Then the 3 assignments that you have to do, so one of them for Module 1 and the 2 assignments for Module 2, the deadline to submit all of them is the 28th of June. So it's at the end of the month. And this doesn't mean that you have to work in all of them at the same time. The assignment questions are usually released around 12 weeks before the deadline. So that would be April. And that means that, once the questions are released, I mean, you should not be able to see the questions until you have gone through all the units. So we want you to cover the theory first. And then once you have done, you can see the assignment questions. And then once you have the assignment questions, you can just start working on them one by one, between the moment they are released and the deadline. You can submit at any point. Then after all of them have been submitted, the results are released on the 6th of September. And then after that, if you complete the course, you get the postnominal IRM cert, and that obviously gives you recognition in the industry and shows that you have achieved a certain level of knowledge, and it's one of the benefits of doing the course as well. Everyone can see instantly what you have done. I'm going to speed up a little bit because otherwise we won't have time for questions and answers. This is basically the journey that you can do with us as a member. So if you were to start doing, for example, one of the international, this course specifically, you will be here, which means that in 1 year you can achieve IRM cert, which is what we were talking about. After you have completed this course, if you want, you can move into the diploma in risk management, and that could be achieved kind of like in 2 years. So obviously, this between brackets, it's how long it would take you to move to every stage. It would be 1 year to the certificate plus 2 of doing the diploma. In 3 to 5 years, you could be a grad IRM, which is the postnominal you get after doing the diploma. And then after that, you can move up on the membership grades, just taking into consideration your experience. So if you have had 3 years of experience in the sector, you can apply to be a certified member. And after that, if you have had 8 years of senior experience, you can apply to be certified fellow, which is the highest membership grade that we have. These are some of the benefits that you get for being a member, which again, you will be from moment 1 that you enroll in the course. So as you can see, we have around 8,000 members, 500 new students each year. We have regional and special interest groups. These are really good to stay up to date with any news, any developments in the industry, and also to network with other people that have the same interests. In case of the special interest, they are divided in categories, so I will show you now. And obviously regional, it would be for the area that you are based on. Some of the examples of special interest groups are, as you can see, financial services, we have health and care, energy, cyber, those are quite hot and popular at the moment. Climate change definitely is very popular at the moment. Operational risk, almost any sector that you can think of, we have a group for. On our website, once you are logged in as a member, you can find a lot of articles, standards, thought leadership from professionals in the industry. So there are lots and lots of resources there that you can use for your own research. We also have the magazine that we send a quarter to all our members, every quarter basically. And again, it has all the news in the sector, anything that is worth mentioning in the industry, you're going to be able to find here. And it is a great resource as well for research. And then we also have a lot of webinars on our website. Webinars like this that we're doing now, it will be uploaded there, but also sometimes it's just events really on different subjects. For example, the one that you can see there, it was rising importance of holistic third-party risk management. So, I mean, it's kind of like the special interest groups. There are webinars in a lot of different on a lot of different topics, and it's also a really good tool to in the industry. And then that's it. Sorry if I have rushed a little bit at the end, but I wanted to see if we had some times to answer some questions. So I'm just going to have a look at the chat and see we can answer. This was the issues in the beginning, sorry about that. Yeah, as Victoria Robinson said, which by the way, she is the head of marketing and she is joining us in the shadows as well. We can email the link for the video that wasn't working to everyone, and it's also on our website. Then there's a question here saying, do these changes impact exemptions for those with exempted qualifications? So what I understand that this person, Edmore, is asking is basically, do these changes impact exemptions for those with exempted qualifications? So the thing is, the way the exemptions work is they always work the moment they were in place. So if you had already been exempted in the past and you had access to a certain course, the moment you apply for the exemptions, you will know what course you had access to. In this case, because the course has been revised, some of the same exemptions stay in place. Some of them will be added. But if you are asking, obviously, about the diploma, if you're asking about the diploma, it will be the same way as it was before. So we can have students that want to enroll in the diploma and they can apply to be exempt of having to do this course because they can show that they have acquired this knowledge by other means, like, you know, either work or any other qualifications that we have agreements with. So about this, you can find information on our website on the diploma page, a section that is exemptions, and it tells you exactly what you can get exempt of. The course the cost of the course and the duration of the study. The duration of the study, as I said before, it can be 6 to 9 months, depending on when you enroll. And the cost of the course at the moment is £2,195 for students. Well, that's the standard fee. And then students that are from low GDP countries, they would pay 1,865. So that's the biggest discount that we apply to students that qualify to be considered as low GDP countries. And information about this is also on the website. Approximately, what would the split of the course be across banking insurance? Phil answered that question earlier. Okay, someone thinking. How long does essay assignment take to be performed? I would say maybe the module coaches have a little bit more experience on this, because obviously they have been students as well. I mean, the assignments are 2,000 words, so they are not too extensive. They're not too long. But what do you think, Sally and Phil? Would you be able to kind of reckon, how long it would take you to do one of the assignments?
Yeah, it's difficult to put a fixed length of time on it. It completely depends on how you approach it, what your other commitments are. Most students, I guess, will be studying for the course alongside a full-time job. So it does completely depend how much time you have to commit to it. What I would say in terms of advice is, and this is the same advice that I give to all students as soon as they start the course, is to create a study plan. And basically, as soon as you get access to the course materials, because then you can look ahead, look at what commitments you have, even things like if you've got any holidays planned, plan around it, plan your time, take into account that the assignments will be released around 12 weeks before the submission deadline, and then plan around having those 12 weeks to complete the assignments.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sally.
Yeah,
Phil, you wanted to...
Well, I was going to say 2,000 words. It's probably about, what, 4 or 5 type sides, depending on your sort of font and spacing. Whether you include diagrams and, the like. But I mean, to give you context of how long it is.
Yes. Thank you very much, Phil. I think some questions have repeated. How long does this course take? We have already answered that. And then let's see. Can one do 2 courses at a time? Absolutely. I mean, if you have the time, something that is really important that I didn't mention is we estimate that students need to study 180 hours approximately for each module. So that would be around 360 hours in total to complete the course of study time that you have to do. So please bear that in mind when thinking about enrolling in other courses. The fees we have already answered. I think most questions are now repeated. People are asking about charter status. Unfortunately, we don't have a program in place to become charter. Level 6, 7. Okay, so the certificate is level 5. We have just gained recognition by OFQUAL, so we are now OFQUAL regulated. The certificate is level 5, and that obviously, as you know, is a national framework qualification. It means that your course is accredited, and there are a couple of other questions there, guys, but unfortunately we have run out of time now, so I have to stop the webinar. Any questions? I'm just going to type in the chat box our email address in case you want to get in touch with us. studentqueries@irm.org. Please feel free to send any questions that you have to us, and we will respond on the day. And other than that, everyone, thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Sally, Phil, and Dimitri, and everyone else. I hope it's been helpful, and you will be able to find this webinar on our website and on the socials. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.